For decades, terrorism has been a reality in many European cities. It seriously threatens the safety of citizens and public space. Over these years, strategies to protect our public spaces and individuals against terrorist attacks have strengthened and evolved. However, terrorist attacks are evolving as well. In an effort by the European Commission, many local and regional authorities will receive trainings and help to better protect their public spaces against these types of attacks. The PRoTECT project aims to strengthen local and regional authorities in this process of protecting. The beauty of public spaces, for instance, are parks, movie theaters, train stations, and other open spaces, is that they're available for everyone. They can be entered free of charge, and they are there to make sure that the individuals that are present can enjoy their surroundings. Public spaces are spaces where many people gather and where many people cross each other's paths, such as transport hubs, parks, shopping malls, places of worship, and other beautiful spots. But because public space has such an open character, it can also be vulnerable to those that want to do harm. For instance, because so many people gather in public spaces, when the goal of a perpetrator is to make as many casualties as possible, the high crowd density, which means that there are many people in one place, which then often feels as a cozy place, now becomes a vulnerability. Vulnerabilities are very important to assess when we're looking at a better protection of our public spaces. If we look at public spaces through the eyes of a perpetrator, every gap in its security can become an extra motivation to commit their crimes. A very well-known criminological theory explains that 3 important factors are present in each crime. For a crime to likely occur, there always is a motivated offender, there's a suitable target, and there's the absence of a capable guardian. These 3 elements together will increase the likelihood of a crime occurring. An offender can be motivated by the absence of a capable guardian, such as no surveillance or other security measures. The offender can also be motivated by the suitability of a target. A target can be a person, or a group, or a building, but it means anything that the perpetrator can actually target. And the more easy it is to target, the more likely the crime will happen. Examples of easy or soft targets, as we call them within the PRoTECT project, are places that can be prone to attacks because of their vulnerable characters. Within the PRoTECT project, a few categories of public spaces of interest were summed up to be able to explain to different stakeholders which public spaces are extra vulnerable to terrorist attacks. These different categories are transport hubs, squares, shopping areas, nightlife areas, cultural venues, business venues, places of worship, and institutional venues, such as public buildings, health buildings, and other institutional buildings. Within the PRoTECT project, the partners of the project aim to help stakeholders, such as municipalities of our beautiful European cities, to scan the market for valuable and innovative solutions that can help protect our public spaces against terrorist threats and thus try to build resilience against terrorist threats instead of having vulnerabilities. An RFI, short for a request for information, was sent out to help gather these innovative solutions and to get in contact with companies, organizations, and researchers that could help provide these solutions. The RFI was drafted simultaneously during the process of conducting vulnerability assessments on selected sites in different European cities. These vulnerability assessments were being conducted in 5 cities to be exact, to see if a public space of interest that they had chosen as a city would be vulnerable to terrorist attacks, and if so, what they would do to help mitigate the increased risk for an attack. After the vulnerability assessments were conducted and the cities knew what their vulnerabilities exactly were, they then chose cool technologies to be demonstrated in their cities at their chosen public space of interest. The results of the request for information led to many helpful solutions to the identified vulnerabilities. By using specific terrorist attack scenarios created for each individual city, each of them then invited the solution providers to come and demonstrate their innovative solutions in the cities.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I would like to start with a special welcome to the companies and its employees who are providing the demonstrations today and other municipalities who are watching via live stream. This day marks a special moment. After intense cooperation and deliberation with our safety partners, we choose a select amount of solutions who can prevent a terrorist attack. The urgency to prepare ourselves for terrorist attacks and other social incidents has changed my mindset as mayor. The digital or online opportunities are endless. We have to prepare and use these digital instruments to our benefit.
The PRoTECT project is about protecting public spaces against terrorist threats. It was initiated by NLEDS and it is being coordinated by DITS. The goal is that we want to strengthen the local authorities, communities, municipalities in protecting their public spaces against terrorist threats by developing and working on an overarching concept of several tools, technologies, but also training and demonstrations. So looking at our project, we have three major blocks of activities. In the green, we started in 2018, beginning 2019, with the so-called vulnerability assessment workshops to find the vulnerable soft targets in the public space. In the yellow part, after the vulnerability assessment workshops, we published a so-called request for ideas or request for information to find technological solutions to mitigate or minimize the threat of a terrorist attack.
We are a company that is specialized in systems for monitoring crowds and traffic. And our product is not usually intended to be used for terroristic attacks, but our typical situations are monitoring this traffic on various lanes on a road. So these roads are maybe 15 meters wide. But we thought if we can apply this technology also for situational awareness in a terroristic attack, and then you have to think about large spaces, but we are talking about large areas of 5,000 square meters plus. So the last year, since we were selected for this challenge, we started developing, extending the technology and broadening the area scope of the system. So this is, for example, a typical product of us. I hope you can see it, but it is a small box that you can connect to a camera. And in this situation, where we have very large areas, and even if there are thousands of people, we can detect the people, and every 25 times per second we pinpoint their position, their direction, their speed. So imagine if there is a terroristic attack, then we can measure where people are escaping to, where the threat is coming from, if there is vehicles involved. So this situational awareness can inform emergency troops for intervention. They know where to go, how many people to go. They can inform hospitals. They can be better prepared to intervene the situation. The image that you see is blurred, and that's because our system is also GDPR compliant. So basically there is no personal data involved. all the video data that can be seen is anonymized, but it would be, of course, possible to also use this information later for training purposes, because not only the live data, but also historic data is available. So after the crime, after the terroristic attack, you can play back the scenario and see what happened, see how the troops did their intervention, and you could use it also for training purposes. All the people have moved now from the area, and we deliberately made the trajectories so that you can also see where the people are coming from and where they are going. All the data, so the position and the speed and direction of each individual, is available by the system, and you can use that for back office systems. So you can make visualizations in a dashboard, for example, showing how many people are there, what the density is. So you can also use it for social distancing. You can visualize hotspots and heat maps. So where is it crowded? What are the typical flows of people? A lot of information that we already apply nowadays for cities, but mainly for crowd management and traffic management and policy making. But as you can see, you can also easily exploit the system for terroristic attacks.
As you have seen, this technology can, of course, identify with the privacy by design principle, crowds and movements in crowds, and you can also enter, of course, to detect certain type of movements.
NeoFace Watch. Real-time face recognition is designed to find a needle in a haystack, reducing a very large problem down to a much smaller review process. Using the latest AI deep learning techniques combined with over 40 years of experience to reduce any inherent bias. It is used to determine the degree of similarity between facial images of people captured by cameras against watch lists.
NeoFace Watch is a commercially available product. It's got a product roadmap. It's released regularly with updates and features. When we get bad guys or other persons of interest that are spotted by the camera, we will get some kind of alert from NeoFace Watch. Very good. So you can see the individuals coming to the camera. And we've already got a suspect who hit. If you can light that, please, on camera 1, camera 2. If I double click it, I can see the individual concerned. I've got some rough details here. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but I've got their name. I've allocated them into the terrorist watch list. So what I do know about this person, even though I don't know their name, is I know that they are a bad guy, a terrorist. And I've actually got some notes here on my screen, so additional information about the individual. I know that they're an explosives expert. This kind of information, accessible at my fingertips, is really helpful because when I get on the radio to notify, say, security officers for my public event, I can say, look, got a hit, subject 001, just got another one actually there. He's got a backpack, he's an explosives expert. That will change the way that the security personnel on the scene interact. If we could do some smoke, please, just to see how the scene manages. We'll probably see us fading out. I can hear the smoke. But basically, the conditions in the scene here are getting really, really bad. So I'm very bold in showing you this. You can see, we're still getting hits though. Yeah, hit camera 1, hit camera 2. Brilliant. We're getting these hits, fantastic. Even these challenging conditions, I can't believe we're getting these hits. I really can't. Hit camera 2, missing person, camera 1. Wow, we got them.
I am a product owner for Sorama, and Sorama is a company here based in Eindhoven, and we specialize in audio sensors. Let me show you what I mean. This is a sensor that we developed last year. This is a box essentially containing 64 microphones that we can use to get audio data out of the public environment. We can do processing on that data, and we can make sound insightful with this sensor. So now you see that an event has been triggered, and the camera is moved to the location where the event has been triggered. Maybe one of my colleagues can set the camera to another location, or we can make an event in the other corner. You see the event is being triggered. So now we are looking at the scenario that is based on a car driving into the audience. And hopefully, based on this sound, the camera is moved into the right position so that law enforcement can take specific action, also has first eyes on the perpetrators in order to try to contain a situation like this before it really escalates.
So what is AdTask? AdTask is an incident management tool that can be used from the citizens and the law enforcement agencies in order to enhance their cooperation, the trustness between of them, in order to exchange valuable information, real time, that can be used from both entities in order to support their actions. Different actions from the law enforcement agencies, different actions from the citizens.
So we see the building, the street, people are walking, and a car is inside the building or the street and is terrorizing the citizens. So a citizen is making a report via the application. And he can upload photo, video, as we said. And he can do another also photo and submit. And we see that the citizen is seeing that his report is in the process of submitting. He submitted, and in the real time, we see that in the command and control, we received a new report. So we see that it's done by the citizen X, the time, the description. Men in blue Land Rover have entered the building. They have guns, probably. We can see the photos. And we see that something dangerous is going on. We can see the map, and we see that it's done in the building, and the area is very populated. The streets are full of restaurants and clubs and bars, so lots of people. And we have to thank firstly the citizen, and we see that in real time the citizen is receiving the messages of the operator, and we have to give them instruction. We have to give them instruction in order the citizens to be safe when they are reporting, and to try to be more safe. So in order for all the citizens, the other, to be safe and to have information, we can make a broadcast event by choosing also the region that we want to broadcast this event, of course. And we see that the citizens are receiving now in their application an announcement, a broadcast announcement. So the terrorist act is in X, Y address. You have to listen to the authorities, leave the area, stay safe.
que es un día muy importante para la ciudad porque se hace muy poco y al menos no conocemos ningún ejercicio como el de hoy, ¿no? Donde diferentes instituciones, diferentes tecnologías, sector público y sector privado, se pongan al servicio todo ese conocimiento para neutralizar una potencial amenaza terrorista, ¿no?
Es importante porque además este proyecto, PRoTECT, surge de la necesidad de mejorar todo lo que son los sistemas tecnológicos en apoyo a la seguridad ciudadana, a la protección de espacios públicos. Realmente lo que se está intentando es, ante cualquier tipo de amenaza, tener formas de respuesta apta, acorde a las tecnologías que hay en el mercado.
Las cuestiones de seguridad son también de los municipios y lo que se trata es de concienciar a otros municipios que no tienen la conciencia tan alta como Málaga sobre la necesidad de la seguridad en grandes eventos y enseñar de alguna manera cómo se planifica esa seguridad y cómo identificar los riesgos y vulnerabilidades que se tienen en la planificación de seguridad.
Sabemos que el terrorismo representa una amenaza cada vez más importante en nuestra sociedad. Podemos destacar los ataques de Barcelona, de Madrid, pero también en Francia, en París. Y por eso creo que es importante que apoyemos a iniciativas de este tipo.
A partir de la información que nos llega de los detectores, nosotros pintamos en un mapa dónde está geolocalizada esa amenaza. El sistema, que lo hemos dotado de cierta inteligencia, es capaz de proponernos distintas acciones a llevar a cabo en función del tipo de área en el que se encuentre situada esa amenaza detectada.
Lo que hemos proporcionado hoy a la demostración ha sido un sistema de detección de drones que consiste en dos sensores complementarios. Por un lado, un sensor de radiofrecuencia, que lo que hace es escanear las bandas de frecuencia más típicas utilizadas por los drones para buscar la señal de comunicaciones que hay entre el dron y el piloto y que se utiliza para transmisión de vídeo, telemetría y control del dron. Y complementariamente a este sensor de radiofrecuencia tenemos también una cámara en la que básicamente utilizamos una cámara comercial y algoritmos de inteligencia artificial para detectar drones en el flujo de vídeo de la cámara.
We bring with us the brand new rifle of MC2 technology called NEROD RF. So the NEROD RF jam the frequency protocol between the drone and the pilots. It can jam until 7 frequency bands. So this product was designed thanks to this partnership that we have with the French forces, who permits to make a product which answers to the need in the field.
La tecnología, por supuesto, ofrece enormes oportunidades para la vida de todos y para mejorar nuestra seguridad, pero al mismo tiempo ofrece armas terribles si caen en manos de terroristas y algunos de esos ataques pueden ser mucho más sofisticados desde el punto de vista tecnológico, por ejemplo, utilizando drones y es por ello que se necesita una respuesta igualmente sofisticada y con atención, trabajando de manera mancomunada en la cooperación público-privada.
Uno de los temas centrales es que con el desarrollo tecnológico han aparecido todo un nuevo tipo de tecnologías, instrumentos que efectivamente pueden ser utilizados para el bien o para el mal, por ponerlo en términos radicales, ¿no? Entonces, el hecho de que Málaga, que por cierto siempre ha sido una ciudad puntera en muchas cosas, que le dé importancia a estos temas, es un centro de turismo global muy importante, y que desarrolle aspectos tecnológicos ligados a asegurar a su vez esa base material de paz y de garantías para todos, pues me parece importante, ¿no?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time today. My name's Alex Lawrence Barkley. I'm the Chief Executive of Level 5 Supplies. So I was talking about tracking pedestrians and vehicles. Why would you want to do that? You might want to do that to see the trajectory illustrated by those green lines on the screen, where they've come from, where they potentially might be going to, the size and behavior of a crowd, and the speed at which they're moving, and even the height of those pedestrians. You'll note that there's no faces visible, so all of this data, there's no personally identifiable information.
So let me start off where this all gets going. So Soul Robotics, by definition, is a software, 3D computer vision software company. We work with all things 3D data. And as of right now, the best 3D data that we work with is specifically LiDAR data. Now, LiDAR is pretty new technology, especially coming into the world of security, but it's quite a mature technology originally in the world of AV or autonomous vehicles. So if you think about a LiDAR, it's very much the same as a camera. It's just a sensor generating an image. Instead of RGB, LiDAR is using laser light to basically hit an object, bounce back, and we create an image, a three-dimensional image of that item that the laser lights are bouncing off of.
The key parts that you'll see today are labelled THEA, which is our multimedia management and video transcoding environment, and some of the facial recognition and object recognition. I'm not going to go through the whole front page. If I step through, you'll start to see some of what's available within the solution set. Within the Skynet app, you have the ability to track and trace people and objects that you're interested in. So they could be your own security people, they could be threat actors, they could be drones, planes, boats, cars, and so on. I can come back to this later, but this won't form the core of what we're looking at today. THEA will, you'll actually see this live and in action. This is, if you like, the command and control hub of the whole solution set, and you can see there are lots of video streams up here. These could appear either on local machines or on a video wall, or however is most appropriate. All of the functionality that you're seeing here is also available, and I'm hoping this will enable me to show it. Let me know if you can see what I'm about to put up in front of the camera, via a mobile app, but more of this later. So the whole sort of suite of solution sets is available via a mobile app. We can also bring in camera feeds from anywhere, CCTV, body cam, drones, whatever you like. Demise is our targeting database, so for specific threat actors who are in the system, and here you can see me with my pandemic haircut. This enables us to start to group threat actors around specific projects. So if you know that there are already people who are on a watch list, who are coming and entering the city, and you have their photos, we can start to look for them using our facial recognition.
Why customers choose us? This is important, a very important slide for us, because as any company, we try to differentiate every other day. The competitive landscape is tougher and tougher. So I try to identify some differentiators which actually helps us to win deals or provide value to our customers is important for us. So on this list over here, you see some of them. We are proud to call ourselves as the fastest facial recognition technology, which you will see during the demonstration as well. That basically means we are capable of performing a comparison of 60 million in less than 1 second. Before we get to the demonstration, I would like to just talk through some slides without hopefully boring you in like 10-15 minutes, something like that, so you get to know the company a little bit more.
I also have one question regarding emotional recognition. Do you recognize the three what was listed on the slides? That is joyful, sadness, and anger, or there are additional ones like a fear?
8 core basic facial emotions. Okay, and this software, BioObserver, is not exactly designed to deliver analytics of these emotions and tell you this person is sad or angry. It gives you indications, so you work it out. There is a menu at the bottom. You see here, like there are like 6 of them. Okay, 6 of them.
It's a basic model of emotions. Yeah.
Exactly, basic. That's it. It gives you an idea of, okay, is this person, it's in Spanish, by the way, this screenshot over here. Is he angry? Like the third one is enfado, angry. The 5th one is surprised, okay? And the last one is he sad, tristeza, okay? So it is giving you an indication based on what the algorithms actually provide. Then you go and, we call super identifiers human beings, because no computer system is as good. So you go ahead and you actually come up with your final conclusion. But the product is not really designed to just do this for you. Instead, you see all this analytics timeline over here. You see these lines going up and down, and you have some red and green dots. Those red and green dots are actually stuff that you set up. You say, okay, as you analyze it, say, okay, at this moment, I am asking a question which should trigger this guy to act in a way that he's surprised. Okay, so you set that up. You set a number to it. Say, okay, if he doesn't get to this level with this question, make sure that I am aware of it. Make sure that you log something, so when I am later on analyzing it, I know. So you don't have to go back and forth trying to sync the video and the questions and the times, etc. You have these data points, let's call them, that helps you actually later on make, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing here. These faces, for example, this lady sitting there with her baby, that's a face below 60 to 60. Okay, so we didn't detect it, as you see. But we can. If I reduce it to 30 to 30, we can. Again, all these faces that you see of those guys are very small. But now we will zoom into the relay a bit more, and you will see around her face, you will, okay, you see 60 to 60, 60 to 62, it comes and goes, but we detected her face already, okay? An identification in this case not yet has been performed, but boom, then we have an identification.
Perfect. Okay, so here we are. This is Urban Aware. I'm just going to log in into my account, and we'll log in and we'll see this example. We're focused on Vilnius. You can already see some of these detectors here, and obviously this is, like I said, and I think as we've discussed already, this is all because it's, you know, it can't be a live scenario. Unfortunately, we can't kind of give these things out and have people wander around and show them being updated in the square. But here we have an example of Urban Aware running with some of these detectors displayed on the screen. So yeah, natural ventilation, I'll add him back in, and he's there. And so now we have our options here. We've got some key buildings set up, we've got our source, we've got our meteorology. So now we're done. I've got my simulation. I'm going to call it Backpack Bomb. It's just like the military, I'm not very inventive with my names. I'll kick it off, and now we'll see we're back to our simulation page, and the simulation is running. Now, as the simulation runs, we're going to start seeing the results come up in real time as they become available from the model. We're going to see it's running much faster than real time, and so usually over Teams, this is where it starts not being able to keep up with casting the data as soon as it comes in, and so you'll probably see that it's going to be a bit blocky until we get to the end, and it's already done. So that took 28 seconds to run a full urban dispersion model, admittedly a relatively simple one of just a point source, but also it has these two additional models running in terms of the building infiltration.
In the city of Brașov, Romania, 3 interesting solution providers demonstrated their innovative technologies to important stakeholders in the protection of Brașov's public spaces. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, like in other cities, these demonstrations took place during an online event. Everis, an NTT data company, has developed EAST, which is short for Event Awareness and Security Tool. This tool can help authorities create a common operational picture by mapping out any area using different types of technology, such as smart cameras and sensors to detect suspicious vehicles, plates of stolen cars, or to identify suspects and to identify objects such as knives, guns, or abandoned backpacks. EAST can use satellite and CCTV imaging to help create this common operational picture, and it can also analyze videos, send out real-time alerts, and it can help with forensic analysis. Chromec is a leading developer and supplier of high-performance radiation detection products based on cadmium zinc telluride and other advanced technologies. Using its technology platforms, Chromec designs and develops and produces X-ray and gamma-ray imaging and radiation detection products for the medical, CBRNE security, homeland security, and civil nuclear radiation detection markets. Thousands of their CBRNE devices are deployed around the globe. If you are on the front line in the fight against terrorism, their devices and systems give you a tactical advantage.
I'm going to start off by running a presentation, and it's probably quite important to make sure that you understand and you understand a bit about the G, because I think that by understanding technology, you'll much better appreciate the demonstration itself.
Now I think we are ready to start, and before we do it again, I will have to explain what you see on the screen in front of you. And what you are seeing is kind of control room type interface. It's what the system can transmit. But let me start with explaining. The top center is just a video that a video camera that oversees our inspection zone in Kölnmesse, and you can see on this picture, left and right, whatever, our system pillars, 2 pillars that send radio waves into the inspection zone. The inspection zone is approximately 3 to 4 meters in front of those pillars, and people are supposed to pass through this system as through the gate, as you will see. And behind the pillar, you see a responder. A responder who holds a tablet that Steve has demonstrated in his presentation. Tablet has much less information that you see on the screen. Tablet has just a picture of latest alert and ability to browse through the previous alerts. So only alert picture, no videos or nothing else, no distractions on the tablet. As tablet vibrates, the responder would send people who alerted to a secondary screening, and you see also a secondary screener with a table. So this is to demonstrate you a basic concept of operations for HSR system. Then, except this main video, to the left of it, to the left at the top left corner of this of the screen, you see a plain view. Again, it's an optional window, but it's kind of useful and interesting during the demo. It's a plain view of inspection zone. 2 pillars, 2 HSR pillars are represented by white rectangles on the top of the of this window, and this gray zone is just an inspection zone. System continuously tracking people walking through the system in real time, and whenever anybody appears in the inspection zone, system starts tracking, and actually it puts a kind of an oval mark on the zone. You will be able to see this. If I can ask maybe Stas, if anybody can step into the inspection zone, yes, this is what demonstrates. This is how the what you will see during the demonstration. You see, this is a green oval means that this person hasn't alerted the system. Whenever the alert happens, this green color will turn red. Then the most important part of the screen probably is actually at the bottom. And the bottom is the alert band, let's say. The latest alert, when the system alerts, you will hear the sound. I think it's not a must, but it helps to understand that the system has alerted. But the image of a person who has alerted the system will appear on the left, on the far left part of that band with the pictures. As you saw right now, we walked with the simulant and the system has alerted. And the latest alerts, actually we alerted 2 times, as Steve explained. We had a number of technologies, and sometimes system alerts twice on the same person. So we received 2 alerts in transmission and in the reflection mode. That actually, and it was quite easy for, of course, now for a responder to identify who alerted. In this case, it was just a lone person. However, the picture and the photograph of the alerted person, it will simplify operation and will allow a responder immediately identify who needs to be stopped for a secondary screening.
This is the city of Munich. We have the height profile. You can see that in the back with the profile of the Alps. We have different static layers being presented in the user interface. So there are now, for example, the buildings with the right surfaces of the buildings. We have a tree layer. This could be anything, yeah? So we support any GIS format that is available today. And if there's something not supported, we will make it work within our platform. These static GIS data is usually being provided by the end customers because they have the latest data from their municipalities or from their industrial facility. And we also have, of course, the ability to add live information into that 3D overview. So I have now selected an ArcGIS layer with the traffic information. Might take a while due to the network bandwidth performance issues, but what you can see now is the live traffic information of the city of Munich. So it's a combination static and dynamic real-time information that is being presented in our engine, and the engine is developed in-house. What I want now to show you is an example of a first project we realized with the Belgian police. It was for a rock festival taking place each year, except during Corona times. There are more than 100,000 visitors at that event each summer. And what we started with was the integration of two different subsystems. So the first subsystem was an integration of a video management system, and the second system was a Tetra devices provided by Motorola, and the Tetra devices had GPS receivers and receivers embedded. And now, if you think about the past, there was somebody sitting in a command and control center somewhere on the festival area, watching on the live video streams on several dozen monitors, and the people from the police organization, emergency team, Red Cross, security were carrying the Tetra devices. What we started with is basically changing the focus from presenting the video streams to the 3D GIS view. So you can see here that the operator at any time had superior situational awareness. Let me go to the next example. It's a smart and safe city surveillance use case where you have presented here on the right-hand side 5 different cameras. One camera is attached to a helicopter and 4 fixed cameras. Besides of the integration of the video management system, you can see that police cars are equipped with GPS receivers. So we are able to track the locations and the tracks of the police cars. We are also able to track here the police helicopter. This, of course, can also be a drone. We are tracking to a certain extent public transportation. And what is now happening here, again, with a georeference video, we are able to calculate the GPS coordinates. And if I select this menu option, show me the address, I hope the system will find it. No network connection. That's weird. See. Now the system automatically finds the address. I can do a double click and I'm immediately at that location. If you now hook it up with the database of the municipality, you would have immediately the information how many people are registered under that address.
Incidents such as terrorist attacks luckily do not occur often. At the same time, we expect our first responders to be prepared and trained for every type of scenario. XVR has developed a VR platform that can train these first responders using all kinds of scenarios that slowly build up towards the handling of a critical situation, such as a terrorist attack. So, after these 5 cities have demonstrated these super interesting, innovative technologies to help better protect their public spaces, what happens next? That is actually a pretty good question, but the NLETS group, which is short for the European Network of Law Enforcement Technology Services, We'll make sure that these innovative technologies and other interesting methods to better protect public spaces will stay known with law enforcement agencies and that they will continue to investigate innovative technologies. So, to sum it up, what have we done within the PRoTECT project? Well, we have helped local and regional authorities to assess vulnerabilities in their public spaces of interest. Afterwards, we have then helped them to scout the market and research for innovative solutions and technologies to help better protect their public spaces of interest against certain types of threats. These types of threats can be, for instance, terrorism, but they can also be different forms of man-made threats, of course. Within the PRoTECT project, we have mainly focused on terroristic threats, but it is very important to also focus on other types of threats when you are trying to assess the vulnerabilities against any type of threat in your public space of interest. The EU Commission has made many efforts to make sure that local and regional authorities and law enforcement agencies get all the help they need in assessing these vulnerabilities. And they will of course continue by funding interesting EU projects that will help manage the safety and security of EU citizens.